Hey tribe, welcome back. This is going to be part two of we're going through the book The Feeling is a Secret. We're on chapter 2. Now chapter 2 is called Sleep. So let's dive into this right now. So let's not do any suspense here. Let's jump right into this chapter. Now I'm going to read this entire chapter to you. I'm going to put in my commentary, of course, and this is probably roughly about 9 to 10 pages. And if you watch the first video in chapter 1 was the law and its operation. And remember, the law and the operation, it ended with this paragraph. So this paragraph leads up to chapter 2, which is on sleep. Now remember the law of it, the law and its operation, it's all about the law of consciousness. So Neville Goddard, within 9 or 10 pages, really discusses and really goes deep into the law of consciousness. Now he ended it, and I'll read this to you real fast. However, until perfect self-control is attained, so that in spite of appearances, in spite of the circumstances around you, what's ever going on in your 3D world, you feel all that you want to feel. He said, listen, use sleep and prayer to aid you in realizing your desired states. Realizing whatever you want, he said, use sleep and prayer to help get it. Okay, and he ends it with, these are the two gateways into your subconscious mind. So that's where he ends chapter 1. Now we're on to chapter 2. Chapter 2 is called Sleep, of course. So let's really dive into this and kind of get rocking here, because this might be a long video. Sleep, the life that occupies 1/3 of your life. Our stay on earth is a natural door to the subconscious. Okay. And maybe you've heard this, it's like, well, Chad, you're not telling me anything I don't know. You know, every great teacher says this. Every great old school prosperity said this. You know, Joseph Murphy, Thomas Sowell, Napoleon Hill, all of them said the same thing. But listen, okay, unless you're getting the exact results you want in your life, okay, if you're living your dream life, you're living life on your terms, okay, dude, I'm happy for you. I really am. Okay. You figure it out to get this stuff to work for you. But a lot of you out there, okay, you debate this material, but yet there's a huge but. You're not getting results that you want. And if you're not getting results that you want, understand this. You don't understand this material as good as you think you do. There's something missing. And it's up to you to figure out what that is. Okay. So this is a really great chapter. I've read it many times before. And so let's dive into this. So it is with sleep that we are now concerned. The conscious 2/3 of your life on earth is measured by the degree of attention we give sleep. Understanding of and delight in what sleep has to bestow will cause us night after night to set out for it as though we were keeping an appointment with a lover. In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men, and the slumbering upon the bed, then he opens the ears of men and seals their instruction. This is Job chapter 33. It is in sleep and in prayer, a state of kin to sleep, that a man enters the subconscious to make his impressions and receive his instructions. Now, at this point, he's really kind of diving into, now remember Neville Goddard, if this might be your first video, this might be many videos down the road for you. Remember, a lot of in his books and his manuscripts and his live lectures and stuff like that, he really used scripture within everything and has an esoteric view, a metaphor view of each scripture. So that's what he's describing right here, is coming from Job chapter 33. In a dream, in a vision of night, when deep sleep falleth upon men and a slumbering upon the bed, then he opens the ears of men and seals their instruction. Job chapter 33. And Neville Goddard is kind of translating this verse, how Neville Goddard understands it. It is in sleep and in prayer, a state akin to sleep. And we will discuss this later, because I know 100% Neville Goddard will go through this. Like, what is a state akin to sleep? That man enters the subconscious to make his impressions and receive his instructions. In these states, the conscious and the subconscious are creatively joined. Okay, what is it? The male and the female become one flesh. Sleep is the time when the male or conscious mind turns from the world of sense to seek its lover or subconscious self. Now, again, if you don't understand some of these words I'm using or terminologies I'm using, how Neville Goddard is using it. Now, some of the stuff I'm going to explain, but some of the stuff that I've already explained in chapter 1, I'm not going to re-explain here. So you're going to have to go back to chapter 1 and listen to chapter 1 because that way it speeds up this video, because I know this video is going to be a little bit long, or it might be a little bit long. We'll wait and see. Listen, the subconscious, unlike the woman of the world who marries her husband to change him, has no desire to change the conscious, waking state, but loves it as it is and faithfully reproduces its likeness in the outer world of form. The conditions and events of your life are your children formed from the molds of your subconscious impressions in sleep. They were made in the image and likeness of your innermost feeling that they may reveal you to yourself. As in heaven, so on earth. Matthew chapter 6, verse 10, and in Luke chapter 11, verse 2. As in the subconscious, so on earth. Okay, so that's how he's breaking down this verse right here. Okay, listen to this. As in heaven, so on earth. Okay, now Neville Goddard is twisting it, not twisting it, but kind of a metaphor. As in your subconscious mind, so on earth. Because remember your subconscious mind. Okay, whatever the subconscious mind accepts as true, it has to deliver to you. Now, what's the law of assumption? Okay, now the law of assumption is whatever you assume to be true for you has to come into your reality. Okay, it's twofold here. Whatever you have in your consciousness as you go to sleep is the measure of your expression in the waking 2/3 of your life on earth. Now we're really getting to the meat and potatoes on this. Okay, this is what I'm kind of waiting for. I'm kind of going over, sometimes he speaks and writes in riddles. Sometimes I read a paragraph and it's like, it seems like a riddle he wrote, like, try to figure this out. But right here, this is the meat and potatoes right here. Listen to this. Okay, you have to get this. Whatever you have in your consciousness as you go to sleep. And now what I like to say, it's not 30 minutes before you go to sleep. It's not an hour before you go to sleep. It's not 45 minutes. Okay, it's literally like 5 minutes before you go to sleep, what you're thinking about. What's in your consciousness? What are you thinking about 5 minutes before you go to sleep? Okay. Because that's the measure of your expression in your waking 2/3 of life. Okay, that's what you're attracting into your life, is what you're thinking about when falling asleep too. That's what Neville Goddard is saying. Nothing stops you from realizing your objective, save your failure to feel that you are already that which you wish to be, or that you are already in possession of the things sought. Your subconscious gives form to your desires only when you feel the wish fulfilled. Now listen to this. Okay, what does he mean by this? Your subconscious gives form to your desires only when you feel the wish fulfilled. Now remember, we kind of talked about this a little bit in chapter 1. Okay, when you're feeling your wish fulfilled, remember, the whole book is called Feeling is a Secret. Remember, what drives your subconscious mind, what your subconscious mind pays attention to is your feelings and emotions around something, around a thought, around a belief. What are your feelings and emotions around it? And it doesn't matter if the feelings and emotions are good or bad. Your subconscious don't care. Your subconscious is very, very impersonal, meaning your subconscious mind isn't trying to figure out what's good or bad for you. It's not trying to figure out what's true or false. It's not trying to figure out what's positive or negative. Okay, it's not trying to figure out, well, this is best for Chad and this isn't. That's your conscious mind. So don't confuse the two. Okay, your subconscious is very, very, very impersonal. It's really like, it doesn't really care what it gives you. It just gives you what you give it. If you give it negative, it produces negative in your life, in your visible world. That's your subconscious mind. So when Neville Goddard says, feel the wish fulfilled, he's talking about a feeling state, an emotional state around what you want, around what you desire. If you want your dream house, that's why he's saying when you go inside your imagination, bring in all your senses, bring in your five senses, see, hear, smell, taste, touch to it, and produce a feeling, produce an emotional state like you're actually doing it. Okay. Okay. So let's kind of dissect this a little bit more and we'll move on. So let's read it one more time. Your subconscious gives form to your desires only when you feel the wish fulfilled. Okay, when you're producing a feeling, an emotional state, you accept, what ends up happening is you accept that state as true. Isn't it true? Okay, when you have an emotion about something, a strong emotion about something, set aside if it's good or bad, good or not for you. Okay, when you have a strong feeling about something, a strong emotion about something, deep down you accept it as true, don't you? Okay, I would agree with that. Okay, deep down, when I have a strong, listen, I'm repeating myself, but I want you to get this. Okay, I want you to walk away with this. I want you to walk away with this concept. Is whatever I'm emotional about, okay? Now, emotional doesn't mean I'm crying. Whatever I'm emotional about, whatever I produce a deep feeling of, I accept that emotion as true. And once I accept that emotion as true, my subconscious mind has to make it happen for me. Okay, now remember, your subconscious mind is very, very impersonal. It's not trying to figure out what's best for you. It's not stopping and saying, well, this isn't best for Chad. It just gives it to you. Okay, so that's what Neville Goddard means. Your subconscious gives form to your desires only when you feel your wish fulfilled. Okay, now this is good and bad. This is a double-edged sword. You have to remember that. Your unconsciousness of sleep is the normal state of the subconscious, because all things come from within yourself. I mean, I love this right here. We'll explain this in a second. Because all things come from within yourself, and your conception of yourself determines that which comes. You should always feel the wish fulfilled before you drop off to sleep. Okay, now in here, I want you to really pay attention to, okay, because a lot of people teach Neville Goddard, and a lot of people like to teach that, oh, you got to go to bed 30 minutes before you go to sleep, 45 minutes before you go to sleep. You have to go in your state akin to sleep 30 minutes before you actually go to sleep to get this stuff to work. I mean, they're making this stuff way too hard. I mean, most of us, unless you're really serious about this stuff, most of us are not going to bed 30 minutes before we go to sleep. Okay, 45 minutes before we go to sleep, or an hour before we go to sleep. Most of us, honestly, okay, go to bed 5 minutes before we go to sleep. Sometimes it's 2 minutes before we go to sleep. Sometimes we're literally sleepwalking to our bed and we crash and go to sleep. You know what I mean? I'm just being honest with you. That's what most people do. Okay. So you're going to notice through here, Neville, I believe nowhere in this chapter says you got to go to bed 30 minutes before you go to sleep, Chad. You got to lay there in a state akin to sleep for 30 minutes. You know what I mean? But listen to this. Because all things come from within yourself. Remember, you manifest from within out. There's nothing outside of you. In chapter 1 was all about the law of consciousness. And the law of consciousness is everything is within you. Everything is within. The answers you seek are within you. You don't have to search outside of yourself to get answers. You don't have to go to 20 of your friends to ask them what they would do. Okay, you already know what to do. Okay, you just need to trust yourself and do it, and trust your intuition. Okay, now listen to this. Your conception of yourself, what's your conception of yourself? Your conception of yourself is your self-image. Your conception of yourself is what you think about yourself. Okay, that's exactly your self-image. Listen, determines that which comes. You should always feel the wish fulfilled before you drop off to sleep. Okay. You never draw out of the sleep of yourself that which you want. You always draw that which you are. And you are that which you feel yourself to be, as well as that which you feel as true of others. Okay, now Neville is kind of going pretty deep here. Listen to this. Let's kind of dissect this really fast. Listen, you never draw out of the deep of yourself that which you want. Okay, meaning like what Neville is meaning is that most of us kind of go through, when we think about a dream life, we think about setting intention, we think about a dream house or a dream car or a dream job, being wealthy. We kind of think about it like a wish. We kind of think about it, oh, that would be nice. It would be nice to live in my dream house. It would be nice to drive my dream car. It'd be nice to have my dream car. It would be nice to be wealthy. It'd be nice not to worry about money. Okay, but that's where it stops. That's what Neville is saying. Okay, you're thinking about it like as a wish. Okay. But what he's saying, listen, you always draw that which you are, and you are that which you feel yourself to be, as well as that which you feel true of others. So what he's saying is that when you go to sleep at night, you manifest that which you're being, that which you are, what you believe to be true for you. That's what's manifesting in your life. That's what he's saying. But then at the end, he's saying that's what's happening to you, your belief in yourself, your self-image, and the belief you have of others. How you look at other people. Are you jealous? Do you put people down? Do you make fun of people? Okay, that's what's coming into your life. Okay, that's what he's saying here. Listen, to be realized, then the wish must be resolved into the feeling of being. Okay, again, the feeling of being. Okay, this is like the law of being. This is kind of how simple manifesting is. It's who you're being right now in that state. Are you being the most successful version of you, or you're not? Okay, the most successful version of you has everything that you want. Okay, it has all the money that you want. It has your dream car, your dream house, it has everything you want. Okay, all you have to see, the secret is all you have to do is be that. Be that person right now today. That's the law of being. So when Neville Goddard says, the feeling of being or having or witnessing the state of salt. This is accomplished by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. The feeling which comes in response to the question, how would I feel were my wish realized? Okay, now Neville, let me change the color here. Now Neville is, okay, he's telling you that it's what he's telling you right before sleep. It's what you're thinking about right before you go to sleep that influences your subconscious mind. Once you influence your subconscious mind with good or bad, positive or negative, that's what's going to come into your life. Okay, now Neville is really kind of diving deep into feeling the wish fulfilled. What is the feeling the wish fulfilled? And then he asks this question, okay, how would I feel were my wish realized? Okay, now what he means by that is, how would you really feel if you had your dream house right now? It's not about how you got it. How would you feel if you had it right now? How would you feel? All the emotions if you had your dream car right now. You were driving it right now. How would you feel? How would you feel if you're already that successful entrepreneur? You're already that multimillionaire. How would you feel? That's the question Neville Goddard is going to answer. How would I feel were my wish realized? Is the feeling which should monopolize and immobilize your attention as you relax into sleep. Okay, so he's connecting the two. Okay, as you're sitting there in a relaxed state, going to sleep, you're going inside your imagination and producing this feeling state. You must be in the consciousness of being or having that which you want to be or to have before you drop off to sleep. Okay, listen to this again. You must be in the consciousness of being or having. Listen, you're being the person. What that means is if you're a millionaire right now. You're in that state of being. I am a millionaire. I have my dream house. Okay. And he says, or having that which you want to be or to have before you drop off to sleep. So you're in that feeling of the wish fulfilled as you're sitting there, sitting there inside your imagination, producing this feeling state and using the law of being, then you drift off to sleep in that state. That's what Neville Goddard is saying. Listen, once asleep, man has no freedom of choice. His entire slumber is dominated by his last waking concept of self. Wow. Now, it really depends upon if you believe this stuff to be true or not. Now, if you really believe this stuff to be true, if you've been studying this stuff for a long time, okay, that should kind of make your stomach, that should kind of make you kind of sit here and wow for a second. That should kind of make your stomach rumble. Okay. Just because, let me read it one more time. Okay. So you can really hear what I said, digest what I said, or not what I said, what Neville said. Listen, once asleep, man has no freedom of choice. Okay. His entire slumber is dominated by his last waking concept of self. Now, again, I'm quizzing you. What's concept of self mean? It's your self-image. Okay, so what Neville is saying, once you go to sleep, once you're in that state of slumber that you don't remember, once you go to sleep, it's dominated by your last thoughts. It's dominated what you were last thinking about. And it's dominated by the last waking concept of yourself. It's dominated by your self-image, what you were thinking about. You get me on that. I don't know how many ways to kind of say this stuff to give you. I'm trying to give you some good examples. Sometimes good examples come to me, and you know what? Sometimes they don't, and it's a brain fart. Hey, friends. Just a quick little intermission here. We'll jump right back to the video. But if you're really trying to figure this stuff out, if you're really trying to live life on your terms, you really need to check out the description, because in the description is where I keep all the nuggets and all the resources. If you're new here, start right here. We got stuff like the power drops, which is totally free, by the way. We got the 30-day challenge. And of course, if you want to be part of the tribe, the link is here. And if you want to try to work with me, the link is right here as well. Like I said, my friends, if you really want to try to make this stuff happen, if you really want to live life on your terms, always keep up to date with the description, because that's where all the nuggets are. Other than that, let's get back to the video. So let's continue on. Listen, it follows, therefore, that he should always assume the feeling of accomplishment and satisfaction before he retires to sleep. Listen, do you do this? Okay. Or are you... Or when you go to sleep, you're sitting there worried about work the next day. You're sitting there worried about paying your bills. You're sitting there worried that you don't have enough money at the end of the month because you had to pay extra. You had extra expenses coming to the month. Okay. What's your state right before sleep? This is what Neville Goddard is saying. Okay. What's your state? What are you thinking about right before you go to sleep? It doesn't matter if it's 30 seconds before you go to sleep, 2 minutes before you go to sleep, 5 minutes before you go to sleep. It doesn't matter if you've laid there for 45 minutes. Tossing and turning, what are you thinking about? That's what Neville Goddard is trying to get to you here. Okay, listen, it follows, therefore, that he should always assume the feeling of accomplishment and satisfaction before he retires to sleep. And this is let me change colors here. He's putting a Bible verse right in there. There's a couple of them. Let's highlight those. Come before me with singing and thanksgiving. Psalm chapter 95, verse 2. Enter into the gates with thanksgiving and into the courts with praise. Psalm chapter 100, verse 4. Listen, your mood prior to sleep defines your state of consciousness as you enter into the presence of your everlasting lover, the subconscious. Okay. This is why I really kind of love this book. I love this chapter, because almost every paragraph is a meat and potatoes. Every paragraph we could just sit on and do just one whole video on. Listen, your mood, and this is just another way of saying it, your mood prior to sleep defines your state of consciousness. Okay, if you're angry going to sleep, are you mad at your boyfriend, girlfriend, you're mad at your significant other, and you drift off to sleep. Okay. What's your mood prior to sleep? I want you to think about this. Okay. I want you to think about, what habits are you in when you drift off to sleep? Your mood prior to sleep defines your state of consciousness as you enter into the presence of your everlasting lover, your subconscious mind. Because this is how Neville is really leading up to, this is how you influence your subconscious mind, because your conscious mind goes to sleep And Neville hasn't explained this yet, but your conscious mind has went to sleep and your subconscious 100% takes over while you're sleeping. So whatever you're thinking about right before you go to sleep, and that self-image of you, that thought goes deep into your subconscious. And then your subconscious accepts it as fact, it accepts it as true, good or bad, because it's a double-edged sword, and it produces it in your 3D world. Okay. Listen, she sees you exactly as you feel yourself to be. Is that confusing? It shouldn't be. Listen, Neville Goddard just called the subconscious mind your everlasting lover. So that's why he's saying she here. When he's saying she, he's talking about the subconscious mind. So look at it. Your subconscious mind sees you exactly as you feel yourself to be. If, as you prepare for sleep, you assume and maintain the consciousness of success by feeling, I am successful. Listen, you must be successful. I love that. Let's go further. Lie flat on your back with your head on a level with your body. Feel as you were in the possession of your wish and quietly relax into unconsciousness. This is what Neville Goddard is saying. There's no force. You're not trying to force stuff. You're not forcing your stuff. I have to play this imaginal scene 20 times before I go to sleep. You know what I mean? He's just in a relaxed state. Okay, that's why I tell you, kind of practice this when you're about 5 minutes before you go to sleep. Then this is what I usually do. Then I catch myself, and then I start getting super relaxed. I start going inside my imagination, and I produce my intention, okay, my self-image, what I want, my desire, my attention, whatever, my imaginal scene. Then I'll go off to sleep thinking about it. He that keeps... the Bible verse right here. He that keeps Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. Psalm chapter 121 verse 4. Nevertheless, he gives his beloved sleep. Psalm chapter 127 verse 2. The subconscious never sleeps. I think we know that. You know what I mean? If our subconscious went to sleep, I mean, at this point, I think I would have already passed out in this video. You know what I mean? So your subconscious, runs all your body processes. You don't have to think and remember to breathe and your blood to flow through your body and your organs to work and everything else. So your subconscious never sleeps. But we're talking about the mind here. We're talking about your thoughts. Your subconscious never, ever sleeps. It's awake 100% of the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Sleep is the door through which the conscious, waking mind passes to be creatively joined with the subconscious. And what Neville Goddard means by this, I love this. He's kind of speaking in a metaphor, a riddle a little bit. Listen, the subconscious never sleeps. Sleep is the door through which the conscious, the waking mind, your thinking mind, passes to be creatively joined to the subconscious. What does that mean? Your conscious mind is your thinking mind. Okay, this is what you're thinking about. Okay, this is what produces your imagination, is your thinking mind, your conscious mind. So as you go to sleep, that's why he says in the beginning of this chapter, your conscious and subconscious are joined together at sleep. It's what you're thinking about right before you go to sleep, and that's joined with your subconscious. Because, okay, that's it. I mean, I'm not going to go on anymore. Let's continue. Sleep conceals the creative act while the objective world reveals it. Okay, what does he mean by the objective world? Remember, objective means your 3D world, what you see with your eye, with your eyeballs. Okay, listen, sleep conceals the creative act while the objective world reveals it. Okay, remember, what are you ever going to if I could talk, I apologize. Whatever thoughts you go to sleep to, okay, sooner or later, that's going to be manifested into your 3D world. That's what Neville Goddard is saying. In sleep, man impresses the subconscious with his conception of himself. And I know it kind of seems like Neville Goddard is saying the same thing over and over and over again, and he's just kind of explaining it different ways. But I'm kind of glad he does that because it really roots into for you to figure out how to use this stuff. And most of us are doing horrible things. Most of us are in such bad habits with a sleep routine. Okay. I mean, we're watching movies and TV shows right up until we go to sleep, or we end up falling asleep to it. And we think it has no detrimental on our life. We think it doesn't influence us. We think, we're watching scary movies at nighttime and we go to sleep to it. We think it has no negative benefit. You get me on that. Or the next thing is, I have friends that say, well, I don't watch TV before I go to sleep, Chad, but yet they play on this bad boy. Okay. They're on TikTok and Instagram, and they're kind of going through shorts until they literally just go to sleep and their phone falls on their head. You know what I mean? They're doing the same thing. What more beautiful description of this romance of the conscious and subconscious is there than that told in the Song of Solomon? Now, the Song of Solomon is in the Bible. Listen to this. By night on my bed, I sought him whom my soul loves. Chapter 3, verse 1. I found him whom my soul loves. I held him, and I not let him go until I had brought him into my mother's house and into the chamber of her that conceived me. Chapter 3, verse 4. Preparing to sleep, you feel yourself into the state of the answered wish. Wow, that's so powerful. Listen to this. Preparing to sleep, 5 minutes before you go to sleep, you feel yourself into the state of the answered wish, and then relax into unconsciousness. You realize wish is he whom you seek. I repeat that one more time. Your realized wish is he whom you seek. By night on your bed, you seek the feeling of the wish fulfilled, that you may take it with you into the chamber of her that conceived you, into sleep or the subconscious which gave you form, that this wish also may be given expression. Now, this whole thing right here was just his more of an esoteric view of the Song of Solomon. This is the way to discover and conduct your wishes into the subconscious. Feel yourself in the state of the realized wish and quietly drop off to sleep. Now, this is what a lot of people teach, imagination creates reality. Right before you go to sleep, you lay down at night, you go inside your imagination, you produce this imaginal scene of your wish fulfilled. Okay, what you want, your intention, you want your dream house. You already have your dream house inside your imagination, and you produce this scene of being that person. It's a state of being. You have it. It's not that you're buying your dream house. It's not that you're working to get your dream house. It's not you're laying there trying to figure out, how did I get my dream house? How did I afford it? Okay, you already have. Okay, that's a state of being. Okay, you already have, and you produce an imaginal scene, feeling states around you have it. Meaning you're living in your dream house. In your imagination, you're walking through your dream house. You're sitting here sipping coffee by your swimming pool. Okay, you're doing stuff like that inside your imagination. Then at that point, you relax, you're thinking about it, then you drift off to sleep. Listen, night after night, you should assume the feeling of being, having and witnessing that which you seek to be, possess, and see manifested. Never go to sleep feeling discouraged or dissatisfied. Never sleep in the consciousness of failure. This is so powerful. Right here. Listen, night after night, you should assume the feeling of being. So Neville basically is saying, you do this every single night. You get in a habit and you do this every single night. Night after night, you should assume the feeling of being, having and witnessing that which you seek to be, possess, and see manifested in your life. Never go to sleep feeling discouraged or dissatisfied, angry, crying, or whatever. Never sleep in the consciousness of failure. Your subconscious, whose natural state is sleep, sees you as you believe yourself to be, and whether it be good, bad, or indifferent, the subconscious will faithfully embody your belief. As you feel, so do you impress her, and she, the perfect lover, gives form to these impressions and outpictures them as the children of her beloved. This is a Song of Solomon right here. Thou art all fair, my love. There is no spot in thee. Song of Solomon, chapter 4, verse 7, is the attitude of mind to adopt before dropping off to sleep. Disregard appearances. Let me highlight this because I know I'm going to talk about it. Disregard appearances and feel that things are as you wish them to be. What does that mean? Disregard appearances. That means what's ever going on in your world right now, what's ever going on in your life, and you can see it. They're actually happening. Okay, you can see it visible. These are visible things. This is your 3D world. That's why Neville Goddard said disregard it. Disregard appearances. Okay, if you're not in a perfect environment, disregard it. Okay, if you don't have you don't have great friends, disregard it right now. You're in poverty, disregard it right now. Don't pay attention to it. Don't pay attention to all the negative shit going around you. That's technically what Neville Goddard is saying. Disregard your appearances. And listen, and feel that things are as you wish them to be. For he calls things that are not seen as though they were, and the unseen becomes the seen. Romans chapter 4, verse 17. Now, I love this verse. Listen, he calls things that are not seen as though they were, and the unseen becomes the seen. To assume the feeling of satisfaction is to call conditions into being which will mirror satisfaction. Signs follow, they do not precede. Proof that you are will follow the consciousness that you are. It will not precede it. You are an eternal dreamer, dreaming non-eternal dreams. Your dreams take form as you assume the feeling of the reality. Do not limit yourself to the past. I was just thinking about this today, my friends. Okay, and I think I shared it in another video too. Do not limit yourself to the past. Okay, let the dead bury the dead, baby. Okay, stop dwelling on the past. Stop telling stories about your past. Now, it's fine to tell stories that are positive. Okay, you love that's happened to you. Okay, but anything negative, anything you went through negative, stop thinking about it. Stop talking about it. Stop telling stories about it. Okay, stop reminding yourself every 3 months this happened to you. That's pretty much what you're doing. You're constantly reliving the past. And again, you're thinking about it. You're creating pictures and imagination about it. And since it really happened to you, you produce a feeling state, an emotional state around it. And guess what happens? You influence your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind makes similar events happen in your life. Okay, that's exactly what's happening. Okay, this is why I say do not limit yourself to the past. Stop thinking about your past. Okay, let the dead bury the dead. Okay, forget about it. Okay, knowing that nothing is impossible to your consciousness, begin to imagine states beyond the experiences of your past. Listen to this. Okay, now I know this is a hard concept. I know you've heard this many times, but listen, knowing that nothing is impossible to your consciousness, nothing is impossible for you to achieve. You can have everything you want. You just have to believe it. Okay, it's that easy. You just have to be a kid again and believe that you can have your dream life. Believe you can have your dream house. Okay, is it that simple? You just have to believe you can have it. You have to believe you can do what you want to do. Okay, bottom line, you just have to believe it. Listen, whatever the mind of man can imagine, man can realize. Listen to this. It is so powerful. Whatever the mind of man can imagine, man can realize. All objective, visible states were first subjective, invisible states, and you called them into visible by assuming the feeling of their reality. I love this. This is meat and potatoes right here, baby. Okay, listen to this again. This is exactly how it works. It's just a different way to explain it. Okay, and listen to this. Okay, I know I'm explaining. Neville Goddard in this chapter, he's explaining it many different ways, and I kind of like that because lots of times we have to hear this stuff over and over and over and over and over, and sometimes it's just you've heard it like 100 times, and the 101 time you've heard it, and someone says, maybe it's me, I just explain it differently, and you finally get it. A light bulb pops off, an aha moment pops off, and you finally just get it to your core. That's why I love these examples. Okay, that's why I love explaining things different ways. Okay, sometimes I have to be careful in my videos not to repeat myself over and over and over and over and over and over and over. But this, we're actually reading down through this. But listen to this more time. Whatever the mind of man can imagine, whatever you can imagine for yourself, no matter what it is it millions of dollars? Listen, man can realize you can have it. All objective, visible states, your 3D world, were first subjective, invisible states from your subconscious mind. Listen, what Neville was saying, everything that's happening right now in your life, no matter good or bad, no matter if you like it or not, what's ever happening right now, you can see you're going through right now, you have created, and you have created it from your subconscious mind. That's what Neville is saying. Listen, all objective, visible states were first subjective, your subconscious mind, invisible states that you called them into visible by assuming the feeling of their reality. The creative process is first imagining and then believing the state imagined. Always imagine and expect the best. This is why Neville Goddard says, always imagine and always expect the best. This is why, I forget what verse it is, I forget where it is in the New Testament, that it basically says that. Always expect the best. Always talk about and focus on what's of good report, lovely things, that's best for people and best for you. Okay, I know I'm butchering it, but you understand what I'm saying. Listen, the creative process is first imagining and then believing the state imagined. Always imagine and expect the best. The world cannot change until you change your conception of it. As within, so without.
Really quick here, friends. Do you want a challenge that's going to make every dream of yours come true?
You see, my friends, the issue is when you start trying to live life on your terms, you're doing everything right. See, that's the problem. That's how you feel. You're trying your hardest, but nothing is changing. Now, in the challenge, there's no fluff, there's no hype. It's just real transformation delivered daily. We are going to the core. We are going to the root cause why things are not working for you. All you got to do is go to the description, click see more. Everything will pop up and you will see the 30-day breakthrough challenge. Click the link and it will take you right over to that. Isn't this so true? I'll reread it, but I'll paraphrase it. Okay, Neville says the world cannot change until you change your conception of it. But listen, your world cannot change. Your life cannot change until you change your conception of it. Isn't that more powerful? Besides saying the world, your world cannot change until you change your conception of it. Okay, your life cannot change until you change your conception of it. As within, so without. That's how everything manifests to you. Everything comes within, out. Listen, nations as well as people are only what we believe them to be. No matter what the problem is, no matter where it is, no matter whom it concerns, you have no one to change but yourself, and you have neither opponent nor helper in bringing about the change within yourself. You have nothing to do but convince yourself of the truth of that which you desire to be manifested. Isn't this the truth? All we're doing, okay, to the basics here, all we're doing is, listen to this, you have nothing to do but convince yourself of the truth. Listen, all we're doing is trying to convince ourselves that the truth, that we can have whatever we want. That's really what it is. We're just trying to convince ourselves of it. But listen, once you convince yourself, once you think it true, it's going to come to you 100%. That's law. It has to. And he might say this, okay, as soon as you succeed in convincing yourself of the reality of the state sought, results follow to confirm your fixed belief. Neville Goddard saying exactly what I said, but just in a different way. You never suggest to another the state which you desire to see him expressed. Instead, you conceive yourself that he is already that which you desire him to be. Now, Neville is twisting this up, and I might give you an example here. Okay, he uses this example a lot, especially in his live lectures. Now, if you want to hear Neville live lectures, that it's really Neville, it's not AI. That's what's kind of popular on YouTube right now. People like to use an AI voice of Neville Goddard, then they write a script, and they have the AI voice of Neville Goddard read that script, but it's not Neville Goddard really teaching. It's not even his real live lectures. It's made up. You know what I mean? But on my channel, I have a playlist called Neville Goddard. That's all his live lectures. It's really him. It's no AI. But listen to this. I'll read it one more time and I'll tell you my story here, or Neville Goddard's story. As soon as you succeed in convincing yourself of the reality of the state sought, results follow to confirm your fixed belief. You never suggest to another the state which you desire to see him express. Now he's talking about like a friend. Okay, if you want to see a friend succeed in life, you don't go to your friend and tell the friend how to do it. Okay, what Neville is saying, instead, don't do that. You convince yourself that he is already that which you desire him to be. So this is the kind of the great, kind of the power that we have, the responsibility we have as a spiritual being. Okay, let's assume, and Neville Goddard uses this all the time. You have a friend that's unemployed. Okay, now what do? You have a friend that's unemployed. Don't see him as unemployed. You see him already employed with a great job and a great salary. That's what Neville is saying. Don't see somebody at their current state. You always see them at above the state, where you want to see him, where they want to be. You don't go to him and try to talk to him about it. You basically see him at the desired state, where you want to see him. In that example, if you have a friend that's unemployed, you don't sit there in your imagination, well, he's unemployed, he's always unemployed. No, you see him in your imagination that he has a great job, he's employed, he has a great salary, he makes 2 times more. Okay. Let's say this one hits home a little bit more. Let's say you have an alcoholic in the family. Okay, besides sitting around the kitchen table talking about Uncle Joe, about being an alcoholic for years and years and years, okay, why don't you go inside your imagination and see Uncle Joe healed? He don't struggle with alcohol no more. That's what Neville Goddard is saying. That's a responsibility we have, okay? That's why he's twisting it a little bit, because the same power that we have for us, we have the same power to do for other people as well. The realization of your wish is accomplished by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You cannot fail unless you fail to convince yourself of the reality of your wish. A change of belief is confirmed by the change of expression. Listen, this is so powerful. He's saying you cannot fail. The only way you fail is unless you fail to convince yourself of the reality of your wish. Okay, if you think law of assumption don't work, manifesting don't work, law of attraction don't work, it works. Okay, what's not working is you, but you haven't convinced yourself yet that what you want you can have, and what you want is true, that you can have your dream house, your dream car. You haven't convinced yourself yet. Okay, so it's you that's failing. It's not the technique. It's not the law of assumption. It's not the law of attraction. It's not manifesting. Okay, that's what Neville Goddard is saying. Every night as you drop off to sleep, feel satisfied and spotless, for your subjective lover, which is your subconscious mind, always forms the objective world in the image and likeness of your conception of it. Okay, the conception defined by your feeling. Okay, what he's saying is, as you drift off to sleep, okay, you should be drifting off to sleep knowing what you want, having a good concept of yourself, a healthy self-image, go inside your imagination in the state of being that you already have what you want to have. The waking 2/3 of your life on earth ever corroborates or bears witness to your subconscious impressions. The actions and events of the day are effects that are not causes. Free will is only freedom of choice. I love this. He puts in this chapter, he's putting so much in this chapter. You know what I mean? And he talks a lot about this in, what's that? The Power of Awareness. The Power of Awareness is like 27, 28 chapters. In this book, The Feeling is Secret, it's only 4 chapters, but it's almost like he's kind of putting everything together. I mean, it can be it's not overwhelming to me, but it can be overwhelming if you're kind of new to this information. Listen, I'll repeat this one more time. The waking 2/3 of your life on earth ever corroborates or bears witness to your subconscious impressions. Okay. Okay. The actions and the events of the day are effects. They are not causes. Free will is the only freedom of choice. Okay, now Neville Goddard went, not in this chapter, but Neville Goddard talked a lot about free will. It's free will don't exist, okay? It's only free will. It only exists in your freedom of choice. What you want, okay? That's the law of assumption, okay? Whatever you assume to be true for you has to come into your reality. So if you want to change your life, you change your assumptions. Okay, but that's why he says free will is only freedom of choice. Freedom, what you choose to do, what you want to do, what you want. You only have the freedom of choice. But at that point, you have no free will, because once you choose something and once you confirm it to be true, it has to come to you, no matter if you don't want it no more, no matter if you change your mind. You understand that. That's where free will ends, because once your subconscious mind accepts it as true, it has to come into your reality. Bottom line. That's all I want to stop, because I don't want to get too much on a tangent on free will. Listen, choose ye this day whom ye shall serve. Joshua chapter 24, verse 15. Is your freedom to choose the kind of mood you assume. So we have a choice to choose our mood, choose what we want, choose who we want to be, who we want to become. I want my dream house, my dream car. I want to be a multimillionaire. I have the freedom to choose that. But the expression of your mood is the secret of the subconscious. The subconscious receives impressions only through the feelings of man, and in a way known only to itself, gives these impressions form and expression. The actions of man are determined by his subconscious impressions. Neville's kind of going pretty deep here. Listen to this. The actions of man are determined by his subconscious impressions. Okay. Whatever you impress on your subconscious mind is going to make it happen in your visible world. But at the same time, your subconscious mind is going to give you intuition and gut feelings to do stuff. And that's what I like to call intuitive action. His illusion of free will, his belief in freedom of action, is but ignorance of the causes which make him act. He thinks himself free because he has forgotten the link between himself and the event. Listen, Neville Goddard is kind of digging deep on this free will thing. I kind of forgot he did this in this chapter. Listen, I'll read this one more time so it's not confusing. The illusion of free will, his belief in freedom of action, is but ignorance of the causes which make him act. He thinks himself free. See, we think we have totally free will. Okay, we think we have 100% free will, but Neville is saying we don't. The only free will we have is we have the freedom to choose what we want. And that's it. Because once you accept to be true, it has to come to you. So at that point, once you accept it to be true, free will ends at that point. That's what he's trying to say. But to continue on, he thinks himself free because he has forgotten. We have forgotten the link between ourselves and the event. Man awake is under compulsion to express his subconscious impressions. Listen to this, okay? If I could highlight this. Listen, man awake, when you're awake, you're under compulsion. You're basically hypnotized. That's what Neville Goddard is saying. When you're awake, when you wake up in the morning, you're under compulsion, you're hypnotized, you're in a trance to express your subconscious impressions, what you fell asleep to. This is deep, huh? Do you really believe that? Do you really believe that whatever you fall asleep to, when you wake up, okay, you're under compulsion to make that stuff happen? I'll read it one more time, then we'll move on. Man awake is under compulsion to express his subconscious impressions. If in the past he unwisely impressed himself, then let him begin to change his thoughts and feeling, for only as he does, so will he change his world. That's what Neville is saying, just he's being tricky. If you want to change your world, all you have to do is change your thoughts. Change what you want to do, change your assumptions. Then everything has to follow. Listen, do not waste one moment in regret, for to think feeling of the mistakes of the past is to reinfect yourself. This is why I said kind of earlier in the chapter, okay, about let the dead bury the dead. Okay, if you had stuff happen to you in the past that you don't like, let the dead bury the dead. Forget about it. Of course, you had to handle and move on from it, but at that point, you never bring it up again. Okay, the only thing when you keep on bringing it up, and we bring it up by telling stories, talking to people, okay, reflecting on it, all you're doing is basically, what do you say? You're reinfecting yourself. And if you reinfect yourself, your subconscious mind has to make it happen again, or similar events happen. I love that. Do not waste one moment in regret, for to think feelingly of the mistakes of the past is to reinfect yourself. Then I didn't even read this. Okay, I didn't even read the verse he was going to use here. Let the dead bury the dead. Matthew chapter 8 verse 22, and again in Luke chapter 9 verse 60. Turn from your appearances and assume the feeling that would be yours, were you already the one you wish to be. You're already the person you wish to be. You're already that successful self. You're already that most successful version of you. So be it. That's what Neville Goddard is saying. Be it. Be it now. The law of being. Feeling a state produces that state. Feeling a state produces that state. Like basically, like attracts like. That's another way of putting it. Feeling a state produces that state. Like attracts like. Bottom line, it's reap what you sow. You put out good, what good has to come back to you. You put out negative, what negative has to come back to you. It's the same thing. The part you play on the world stage is determined by your conception of yourself. By feeling your wish fulfilled and quietly relaxing into sleep, you cast yourself in a star role to be played on earth tomorrow. And while asleep, you are rehearsed and instructed to your part. The acceptance of the end automatically wills the means of realization. Now, Neville Goddard is actually kind of sneaking in living in the end. This is kind of living in the end right here. Okay, he's not explaining it so much like living in the end, where you go straight to the end. Okay, you already have what you want. Okay, that's living in the end. Listen, the acceptance of the end, that's living in the end. Okay, you go straight to the end. What do I mean by straight to the end? You go straight to the end of your desire. You want your dream house, you go straight to the end. You already have your dream house. You want to be a multimillionaire, you go straight to the end. You're right now a multimillionaire. That's going straight to the end. And listen, you don't do anything that contradicts that state. Okay? Listen. The acceptance of the end automatically wills the means of realization. Make no mistake about this. If, as you prepare for sleep, you do not consciously feel yourself into the state of the answered wish, then you will take with you into the chamber of her, your subconscious mind, who conceived you the sum total of your reactions and the feelings of your waking day. And while asleep, you will be instructed in the manner in which they will be expressed tomorrow. You will rise believing that you are a free agent. This is where he kind of goes into, he's connecting free will again. Okay, after you go to sleep and you arise, you wake up tomorrow, you will rise believing that you are a free agent. not realizing that every action and event of the day is predetermined by your concept of self, which is your self-image, as you fell asleep the previous night. Your only, listen to this, he says it again, your only freedom, he's talking about free will here. Your only freedom then is your freedom of reaction. You are free to choose how you feel and react to the day's drama, but the drama, the actions, events, and circumstances of a day have already been determined. He's going deep here, huh? Unless you consciously and purposely define the attitude of mind with which you go to sleep, you unconsciously go to sleep in the composite attitude of mind made up of all things and reactions of the day. So he's explaining it kind of weird. So what is he talking about? So what he's talking about in this paragraph right here, I just highlighted, is listen, unless you consciously and purposely define the attitude of mind with which you go to sleep. So what he's saying is, unless you're purposely doing it, unless you have a bedtime routine, unless you're in a habit of when I lay down 5 minutes before I go to sleep, I'm controlling what I'm thinking about. I'm controlling my mind. I'm controlling my imagination. Okay. I'm in control. That's what he's saying. So he said, unless you do this while you go to sleep, if you don't do this and you go to sleep, you lay down, you watch scary movies, whatever you do, you let your mind wander all over the place. He said, you unconsciously go to sleep in the composite attitude of mind made up of all the feelings and reactions of that day. Meaning whatever you went through that day, if you had a good day, it would be good thoughts. If you argued with the boss at work, you had a bad day, a stressful day, well, that's what you're naturally going to think about when you lay down to go to sleep. And that's what you're going to produce the following day. That's what Neville Goddard is saying. Listen, every reaction makes a subconscious impression, and unless counter-reacted by an opposite or more dominant feeling, is the cause of future action. Ideas enveloped in the feeling are creative actions. Use your divine right wisely. Through your ability to think and feel, you have dominion over all creation. I'm going to read that one more time because as I was reading it, my mind was drifting away. I apologize, my friends. We've been going through this for an hour now. I'm like, when is the last page coming? Let me read it one more time. Okay, sorry. I'm human. My mind was drifting. I was reading it. My mind drifted off. I had no clue what I said. Listen, ideas enveloped in the feeling are creative actions. Use your divine right wisely. Through your ability to think and feel, you have dominion over all creation. Listen, what Neville was saying, your ability to think and feel, to control what you think about, to control what you feel, you have dominion over all creation. You have dominion on this earth. While you are awake, you are a gardener selecting seed for your garden. But except a corn of wheat fall into the ground and die, it abides alone. But if it die, it brings forth much fruit. John chapter 12, verse 24. Your conception of yourself as you fall asleep. Now remember, let me change this over to yellow. Neville Goddard likes to, and you might already know what this means. Neville Goddard likes to call it your conception of self. This is your self-image. It's how you view yourself, positive or negative. Your conception of yourself as you fall asleep is the seed you drop into the ground of your subconscious. Dropping off to sleep, feeling satisfied and happy compels conditions and events to appear in your world which confirm these attitudes of mind. Sleep is the door into heaven. What you take in as a feeling, you bring out as a condition, action, or object in space. So sleep and the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Okay, that's the end of the chapter. I thought this paragraph was going to go on. Okay, now let me highlight this and we'll kind of wrap this baby up. Okay, this is the last. The two sentence paragraph here is the last. So let me reread this and we'll wrap this baby up. Sleep is the door into heaven. What you take in as a feeling, you bring out as a condition, action, or object in space. You have to think about it that way. Like whatever you fall asleep to, whatever feeling state you're in when you fall asleep, you really kind of have to dissect this. That brings out a condition. That means you're going to relive that. You're going to experience the state you fall asleep to. And that's what Neville was saying, is that's going to bring, when you wake up in the morning, that's going to bring out a condition, action, or object in space, which is soon might not materialize right away, but eventually you're going to see the conditions in your visible world. But it's all coming from what you're thinking about right before you go to sleep. So, to end this, Neville says, so sleep in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. So what does that mean? I know we know what it means, but I'm quizzing you right now. What does that mean? So sleep in the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Sleep in that state of being that you already have what you want. You're already living your dream life. As you go to sleep, you already have that dream house, that dream car, that dream job, that dream career. You already are a millionaire, a multimillionaire. That's a state of being. You already have it. And that's the feeling state that you have as you're drifting off to sleep, my friends. And don't get caught up when I'm talking about money, dream cars, dream jobs, your SP. It's whatever you want, baby. Make it about you. Okay. It's your dream life. Okay. You're living life in your terms. You're doing what you want to do. You're the sculpture. Okay. You're the architect of your life. You're designing your life exactly how you want it to be. And that's how you have to imagine it. Okay. That's what you truly have to believe. Okay. You are the sculpture. You are the architect of your life. You have the wheel. You're controlling the ship of your life, baby. Okay. You're in control and you can design your life every which way and how you want it to be. Okay, you have to believe this to be true. That's why Neville Goddard says, okay, and he's tying sleep to influencing your subconscious mind again, but that's why he says, so sleep in the feeling of your wish fulfilled. But other than that, friends, thanks for sticking along. If you held on with me for an hour going through this chapter, this was an excellent chapter. I mean, I do know never. It kind of seemed like Neville Goddard was kind of just constantly explaining the same concepts over and over and over, but in a different way. But this helps us. This helps us really understand what's going on. And once you can really understand what's going on, you can kind of see where you're making mistakes and you can fix it. But other than that, my friends, tribe, YouTube fam, comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Other than that, peace out. I'll see you at the top, baby. Okay. I'll see you. We're all living a life on our terms. Okay. Bottom line here. But other than that, peace out, and I'll see you in the next video.